Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings, y'all. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel, and we are talking today on the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talk about part 3 of our 3-part series on the power of asking. So grab your coffee. Let's give the algorithm time to let you all get in the room, and I'll see you guys on the other side of these commercials. Peace.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Yes, that's our new segment, Monday Morning Motivations. We're going to try it this Monday, 6 a.m. So now we're on, is it 4 days a week? So we got Monday Motivations, Sajdah's Monday Morning Motivations. That's at 6 a.m. I know so many people are depressed going to work on Monday, and oftentimes we just don't make the best out of our Monday. And listen, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to counter some of the propaganda that is against us, that is using our frustration and our fears as currency. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So we got Monday, Sajdah's Monday Morning Motivation, 6 a.m. We got Thursday night, the Mind of an Entrepreneur show at 7 p.m. And then Friday and Saturday, 6 a.m., we have the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. And we're ramping things up. So we are looking for sponsorship. So if you're looking to have your commercial played, send us an email, mindofanentrepreneurtoday@gmail.com. If you just want to support, you can always do so. Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. Hit that super chat button at the bottom. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. And everybody, do me a favor. Tell at least one person. 6 a.m. in the morning, normally we're just rolling over. Some of us have gotten up for prayer and laid back down. Some of us are getting dressed. So this is the space that you can use to tune in to some knowledge to help you start thinking outside the box, thinking beyond the 6,000-year rulership that we are under, so that we can access and tap into our divinity. We've been covering the power of asking. And on the power of asking, we talked Thursday. We really got deep into the divinity of asking and the divine aspects of asking. Why is that so important? Well, it's important because there is so much right now, so much of a concerted effort to take away our humanness. And within our humanity is our divinity. And I don't mean divinity in a religious sense. I mean our divinity in that it's the thing that connects us to the God of the universe, the thing that connects us to a power greater than ourselves, that helps us to transcend our own intellectual capacity. Religion is such a charged word. So oftentimes when you use the word divinity, people freak out and go, but listen, let me tell you, there's a divinity in you and I. There are limits that can only be reached through our divinity. And that might be a whole show that we have a whole conversation about, because it's something that's worth us respecting about ourselves and exploring about ourselves. And so a lot of the efforts out here in the world are designed to keep us in fear, so that we negotiate our humanity for whatever they tell us they want to exchange it for. So people are out here buying and selling our humanity. And guess what the currency is? It's fear. Fear creates currency. You got to be a wicked somebody to take a person's fears, their insecurities, their challenges, and create a currency out of it. This is why when you don't have any money, they make it damn near a crime to be poor. That's why there's so much money in homelessness. People who allegedly provide homes for homeless people. There's a lot of money in that. People get nonprofit funds. People get to go online and they generate revenue. And there's not, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that per se, But there are predatory people out here who turn that unfortunate circumstance into profit. Just our fear of having to walk down the street and we're worried about whether or not somebody's going to do something to us. They go, oh, okay, let's create an app that you can, ride in the car. We were talking about this yesterday on Discord, how back in my mom's days, there was a thing called a jitney. And you literally got in the car with a stranger. You didn't know them. Your vibrations had to be high because when you got in the car, if you didn't know them and they looked weird, you just didn't get in. But there was a power in the community because you knew these people. They weren't going to do too much. And even if they did, the challenging thing, that's a whole nother subject about that era, is they just didn't say anything. But people got in the car with strangers all the time and stuff happened and they didn't say anything. So now what they say is, and there's these services, it's not just the jitney, they exist all over the world. Anywhere you travel in the world, there's a form of a jitney service where people will just give you a ride, pick you up on the side of the road. You may or may not even know them. But now we have Uber, so they create an app. And somehow we think that the app makes us feel safer. So they create a currency out of our fear. But fear creates currency. I could go on and on. When bill collectors, they try to scare you. And then that translates into a currency. It makes you come up with the money because you're afraid. Whether they threaten you or threaten to take something from you, it's fear that's converted into money. And for many of us, we're so disconnected that fear gets really big. And also, not only is it our disconnection that makes it a currency, it's our disconnection that makes us do weird stuff. So because we're so disconnected from our divinity and so much of our humanity has been taken from us, tying in our subject matter, we don't ask questions. We don't even try to think of a creative way. We don't try to pray on a creative way to make something happen. That's what makes people steal. That's what makes people lie. That's what makes people do all kind of crazy stuff. Because we don't believe in our divinity. Nor do we believe in a power greater than us outside of ourselves. Our beloved brother, student minister, Imam Abdul Alim Ansari, saw my post about the promo for the power of asking, and he gave me something that I want to read to you all. This is from Surah 41, verses 30 through 31, 30, and 32. Ayats 30 through 32. Those who say, our Lord is Allah, then continue in the right way. The angels descend upon them saying, fear not, nor be grieved, and receive good news of the garden which you were promised. We are your friends in this world's life and in the hereafter, and you have therein what your souls desire, and you have therein what you ask for. A welcome gift from the forgiving, the merciful. What are we saying here? That Allah promised us a garden. He promised us wealth and riches if we just do the right thing. If we live our life, what does that mean? Because a lot of us become slaves to that. Do the right thing. If we live in the right way, if we are conducting ourselves in the right way, we line ourselves up. We talked about those electromagnetic waves. So when we're thinking the right way, when we're acting the right way, we're sending those electromagnetic waves out into the universe. And then the universe is responding to how we're thinking and how we're acting. And then the conditions of what it is that we're working on begin to line up. And then it's almost like we open up, right? Like we're pregnant, waiting for an answer. We open up to the divine feminine, meaning that we're open and we're waiting to be filled with that answer. We're open and waiting, and then now the universe that's always there can come into that space that we've opened up for it. Y'all don't hear me. See, most of us are so closed, and we walk around like this. Why do we walk around like this? Because we're not doing the right thing. We don't think right. We're really trying to be shady. We're trying to steal. We're trying to do something crazy. We're not creative. We haven't activated our creative juices. So we want to hurt somebody. We're mad. And so we're closed. And so that energy, that Allah, that universal energy that's always there can never come into us and occupy the space because we're not open to it. We're not even aligned with it. Okay? So that's what we're talking about here. What else did I wanted to tell you all about this? This is a part that I think is really interesting. Let me recognize y'all in the chat. I'm sorry, I just jumped in and started talking. Make sure you like and subscribe, support the network. Go to Sajdah Enterprises on Cash App. Give us a love offering. Happy Saturday, Mother. Welcome, welcome. Brother Lamont says, good morning and assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam, sir. Happy Saturday to Sister Betty. Happy Saturday to Sister Renee. Sister Sandra D. Assalamu alaikum, sis and family. Happy Saturday. Thank you, ma'am. Diamond Michael Scott says, truths. So Sandra said, yes, it's deep because the thoughts travel faster than anything. Absolutely. Morning blessings, family. That's Sister Aletha. Yeah, the thoughts travel faster than everything. And we talked on Thursday night about those electromagnetic waves and how fast they travel and how fast we can even get up out of this 6,000 year period mentally in terms of, see, this 6,000 year period has a way of thinking, a way of being, a way of acting, a way of conducting itself, a way of moving. And we can think outside of that if we get our heads right. And so the power of asking is a very, very powerful, very, very highly spiritual way of being. Because what happens in this realm that we live in, we're so busy defending ourselves. We're so busy looking over our shoulders, trying to guard against who's trying to steal from us. We don't know who's who. We don't know who to trust. Who's trying to take something? Who's running game? You can meet somebody and they can be cool. You can know them for years and all of a sudden they trip out on you over some money or over something that they're jealous of. So having to guard against that kind of thing closes you off and pinches you off from that universal energy that wants to occupy the space. But we can't even open up and be ready. We can't be in question mode. We can't be in receiving mode because we're too busy in fight mode. We're too busy in fight or flight. And I literally I've been just saying this lately. I don't even want to be around nobody where I got to be wondering what you doing, what you on, where you at, looking over my shoulder, why you acting shady. Not hardly. Because I want to stay open to the universe. I want that question. I want to stay pregnant with the universe's answers so that I'm constantly giving birth to whatever it is designed to manifest. We also have to work on breaking old patterns. And this is a big challenge for many of us, because a lot of us have been through trauma. A lot of us have been through things, whether it's at school, at work, at church, in our relationship. But in order to receive the blessings from, even from your sacrifice, you have to let go of the pattern of identification. What do I mean by that? Some of us are so used to people hurting us that becomes our middle name. Sajdah hurt Muhammad. Some of us are so used to people lying to us that becomes our middle name. Sajdah lies Muhammad. Some people are so accustomed to people hating on us that becomes our middle name. Some of us are so attached to what we went through. This is why a lot of times people get a little older, you hear them and they just constantly tell that story about that trauma over and over and over again. And the story never changes. You never really hear them talk about what they got out of the trauma, how they grew through the trauma, and how they're living today, and how they benefited and made it an asset, or how it changed them, or how they thrived or survived through it. They're just constantly telling the story of the trauma. And many times we do that to ourselves, where we're constantly telling ourselves that story. Every time we see a certain thing, we get triggered and we go, oh, yeah, I know what I went through over there with them people. I ain't messing with them. Well, guess what? As long as you're holding on to that, you're pinching yourself off. As long as you're holding yourself to that, you're pinching yourself off. And some of us weaponize what we went through. So we like, look, I'm going to be in your face. You know what I done been through as a result of this? Get up out of here. You see that a lot of times in the street. Hell, you see it in the church. You see it in the mosque. I mean, I've been through so much. I ain't doing this. I ain't, But that identity, if we are thinking of something that we want, and if deep down inside of our mind, our money psychology, for example, is saying to us, you're never going to be rich. Your mama ain't never been rich. Your daddy ain't never been rich. Money don't grow on trees. Whatever other little psychological things your parents said to you while they were raising you and doing the best they could to help you to survive, if that record is playing in the back of your head and that's what you identify with, and so every time somebody talks about money, you go back to that old record that's playing, then you're never going to get off that hamster wheel. You're never going to make more. You're never going to access more. Many of us aren't even thinking about more because we're so busy surviving. And I would encourage each and every one of us, well, we got to put our plan together so that we can make it over here on this side. Over here, spend some time thinking out into the stratosphere, thinking about, you should have a goal that's so big that it scares you. I have goals that are so big that I know that when they come true, everything around me is going to change. My entire life is going to alter. Those are the kind of goals that I set for myself. I got tangible goals, but I got some big ones. I got some big ones that's just going to change how I move. And we all should have those. We should have goals that literally scare us, to where we're like, man, I don't even like thinking about it. Put that big goal in the back of your mind and let your subconscious mind work on that. And guess what'll happen? Next thing you know, it'll come to fruition. It will come to fruition. Let me know in the chat if you all have any questions about our series on the power of asking. I encourage you to go back and unravel parts 1, 2, and 3, because we started off talking about the spiritual aspects of it. Part 2, we talked about the benefits of the power of asking. See, when you start operating on a certain frequency, I can look in somebody's face and tell whether or not they're thinking on the right frequency. I can see fear. I can see if they're a little bit off. I can see love. I can see trauma. Once you get locked into the right frequency, you can see those things. And I'm going to tell you another thing that letting go of this fear does. It helps us stop being so judgmental. It helps us to know and understand that people are at different levels spiritually. And you just got to let people be at their level. If you can help them, that's fine if they're open to assistance. But for the most part, people are at different levels. And in being at those different levels, they may or may not vibe with you at that time. And that's okay too. That is okay too. But you got to remember that until you get to the point where you're comfortable asking questions, stop trying to be safe. Stop worrying about what people are going to say about you. Stop trying to not. I know people who totally are always trying to be neutral. Let me tell you something. If you don't commit to something, ain't nobody trying to mess with you in this world. You know what the new currency is being unique and different and being yourself. You got people out here who believe in Allah, but they don't really want to look like it. They don't really want to look like a Muslim. So they try their best to not come off like a Muslim. They don't want their language to be, Islamic based. Listen, I'm the kind of person, as soon as I open my mouth, I'm a God. Or at least I'm trying to get there. Because I'm committed to that. It's like it's like when you go out of town, not committing to your outfit. So you got to take a whole bunch of stuff because you can't commit. Or being in a relationship where you don't ever really want to look like you with somebody. So you always kind of pretending like you're single, but you're not. Let me tell you something. And I say this to a lot of us in the corporate world. We talk about this a lot in those of us in finance and in business. Stop adjusting your behavior for customers that you don't even have and that you ain't gonna never even get. I'm gonna leave that right there. Stop adjusting your behavior for customers that you don't even have and that you not are even going to get. You ain't gonna never get them. So stop adjusting your behavior. Stop going around other Black people trying to act like you got these customers when you really don't. You really don't. I want you to think about that. See, authenticity is the currency. Being your authentic self, that's your currency. And the best thing to do, we got to unravel this educational system that we've came through. There's a book called, what's that book called? It's called Weapons of Mass Instruction. And it will show you how those of us who came through the school system, how we were taught and designed to be really good little employees. It's called Weapons of Mass Instruction. Go check that book out. And you will see that the education, you think you're so smart, you think you all that, you're really not. Because if you were, then you would be at a different level. And that goes for all of us. That I say the same thing to myself. So you never want to come off like you know so much, you so smart. You know what I do? I just share my experiences. When I started talking about the power of asking, I started talking to you about how on Thursday night, how I discovered the power of asking. I remember in college, I had a guy I was talking to who used to always say, closed mouths don't get fed. Closed mouths don't get fed. And I always remembered that. I remember somebody else telling me, I think it might have been in a sales class, like, All they can do is say no. You got to ask the question. I started learning the power of asking questions. And I was reminded of this series last week when I was in Houston. And I mentioned this to you that my sister, attorney Sajdah, Evangelista, we pulled up at a museum and they looked like they were closed. I think it was the Houston African, I meant to look this up, the Houston African American Museum. And she said, let me just ask. And she jumped out of the car and said, are y'all open? Can we come in? And the brother said, no, we're not open. We're preparing for an exhibit, but y'all can come in. So he let us come in the museum while they were preparing for an exhibit. That was the power of asking. And she said, hey, my sister's a preservationist. She owns the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House in Chicago. Da, 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 da. She wanted to check out some museums, blah, 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 blah. He said, yeah, come on in. And it reminded me of how I'm always telling my clients, all they can do is say no. Stop trying to be so safe. What are you afraid of? What is going to happen to you if they say no? What's going to happen to you is because you done already put your whole identity into this answer to this question. So if the person say no, what, you're going to just be crushed? You're going to fall out in the floor? You're going to die? You're going to lose your mind? Stop trying to be so safe. Stop being so rigid. See, the currency that is created out of the fear that we're all trying to negotiate makes us very rigid, makes us very non-committal, because we don't ever really want to go around people and look like we down, say, with the Muslims. We don't really want to use, wherever I go, I'm either Sajdah Wendy Muhammad or Wendy Muhammad. Been that way since 1998 when the minister told us we could use, he gave us the name Muhammad. I said, all right, this is how I'm representing. But some of us, we code switch. And I think today there's a price for code switching. I think you're going to start seeing code switching not working like it used to in 2024. I just don't think that. This is the year of victory. This is the year of authenticity. And if you start paying attention to what's happening in the universe, you can feel the energy of authenticity. It's enough money, family, in our community, among our people, that you can become very, very wealthy and very, very rich. You just got to figure out how to respect and love your people the way you worship and honor them other people. Yeah, I know our people be hating, we be tripping and all that, but they be hating and tripping too. They be hating and tripping. And I'm not saying that you can't get contracts from, other cultures. And I'm not saying that you're not going to get contracts from white people. But guess what? You ain't got a code switch if you come on in and get some contracts from your people. It's a lot of us out here with money. It's a lot of us out here who are willing to buy goods and services that you have to offer. You just got to figure out how to package it. You got to be good. You got to be authentic. There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. And you ain't got a code switch. We ought to stop. We should stop code switching anyway. Now, I'm not saying that, you might talk in front of your homegirls, be like, hey, girl, hey. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that you should be acting like that when you go in a corporate setting, or when you go over here around the white folks you're working with, or somebody come to your house to fix something and you like, hey, girl, hey. I'm not saying that. But y'all, stop being fake. Stop being phony. And let's stop code switching. Let's be who we are. Figure out who you are and commit to it. Decide who you are. See, one of the things that I did early on in my career is I defined myself. And once I defined myself, I started to build on myself, and I let that self evolve. See, part of our problem is that we don't know who we are. So if we got $1 million from somebody over here, we're going to be whoever they want us to be. And then if we get another $50,000 from somebody over here, we're going to be who they want us to be. We're going to always be changing based on where the money is coming from, where we think the security is coming from. That's not the way to be. Not in this world and in this new environment. Somebody was breaking down to me, Brother Haas was breaking down to me yesterday, how we go from Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, Web 5. And he was talking about how we went from like Web 1 being the streets, like where you had to walk up to a store in a retail environment. You had to buy your products, put them in the store. And there was this face-to-face exchange, of goods. And then we moved into a phase where everybody had to have the internet. And so everybody had to have a website. Everybody had to have the internet. So we were all scrambling, and it was the new wave. And some people were scared to get them a website. Some people were scared to get on the internet. And then we went into a phase where we were all new on the internet, but there was this whole lack of transparency. People getting catfished. Folks don't know who's who. And I think it really created a lot of phoniness around, among a lot of us. And now we're moving into this phase with, blockchain and transparency, where people want to know, are you putting good out into the universe? People want to know, who are you? Where you come from? We all worried about AI and how we're going to know who's who. Well, I think a lot of us worry about that because we don't really believe in a power greater than ourselves. We don't believe in a power greater than ourselves. So we worry about that kind of thing. But guess what? There's a special divinity inside of each and every one of us that only comes from human DNA. You can use AI to do certain things, and it's going to be interesting. But now we're moving into this space of transparency. Truth is becoming a currency. That's the reason why you see people like Cat Williams go on Club Shay Shay, and he's speaking the truth and it goes viral. Just go and check out the things that people are talking about. What do they block? They like to block and shadow ban shows like mine. Why? Because I'm teaching you not to negotiate your humanity. I'm teaching you so that when you go into business, you don't give up your humanity in exchange for the sale of some goods and services. That you go into business as a conscious entrepreneur and keep your humanity and your spirituality and your integrity intact. Well, that's not I had somebody say to me, they said, and people always trying to tell me, I think maybe this is a test, I don't know. They always try to tell me what I should and shouldn't say. If it's related to the museum, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House, you should really just stop saying he lives and people would donate more. I've had that, and they said, because if the people who believe he lives ain't donating, then if you stop saying it, then maybe the people who don't believe he lives will donate. And I was like, so what you want me to do is trade my spirituality and my belief system in for you and for some money. Okay, not happening. And then I had somebody who talked to me about being a part of their platform. They have a really big platform, and everybody on the platform is making into the 5 and 6 figures from being on the platform. And he was saying to me, but you have to stop teaching people about conscious entrepreneurship, because there is an aspect of your soul that you're going to have to sell. And I was like, wow. So you're telling me to tell people to stop trading in their humanity, go and sell a little bit of their soul, and I can come on y'all platform and make 6 figures. I said, I'm good. I'll stay over here where I'm shadow banned. At some point, it'll all go viral and people will get it, because I got some life-changing content that I've been putting out here since 2005. And usually about once a year, I get an offer, and it gets bolder and bolder. Stop telling people about this, stop talking about that. And I'm gonna keep being me, and I'm gonna keep my integrity intact because I got to live with myself. And you gonna see the God come through. If you know me, you know the God stay with me. But I'm blessed. Brother Lamont says, gotta have vision. Sister Monica says, authenticity. Brother Stanley joined us and he's subscribed. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the subscription. Um, Sister Monica said, teach on that code switch activity. Fake news. Amen. Yes, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, send a love offering or hit the super chat or subscribe, however you want to do it. If you don't know that you want to subscribe at $4.99 a month, like Brother Stanley, then just go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, and give a love offering. Brother Stanley says the year of being intentional and focused. That's exactly right. Sister Sandra said, did you mention cover the art of formulating questions or the right questions? Yes, we talked about that yesterday, Sister Sandra, on the Friday morning coffee talk. We talked about forming those questions, being very, I'll cover it real quickly again in case people missed it. Sometimes our questions are too general. I'll say it this way. We got some time left. Sometimes our questions are too general, and we want to be more specific. And so we talked about formulating very specific and authentic and real questions. I think it was you, Sister Sandra, who made a comment and said, just be straight up and real when you have those conversations with Allah, with God, with the universe, however you see it, and say what you feel, what you want, what you're going through, and allow yourself to be open to receive the answer. But you want to be very, very specific. I can't tell you how to talk to God. I can't tell you how to form those questions. But what I can tell you is don't always be so safe. Don't be afraid, even if it's something that's going on that you don't understand. Be okay with saying to God, like, you know what? I don't understand this. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I've had times where before I went to bed, I posed some questions to God, and throughout the night, the answer will come to you. That's why I say the answer may come in the form of a realization. It might be an aha moment. It might be intuition. It might be a person who comes to you that says, hey, I want to offer you X, Y, Z. But you got to put the question out there, and you got to be very specific. I've done things, like I said, where before I go to bed, I've been very specific about something. And in the middle of the night, it'll come to me. And, say something like, this is where you need to go. Or I may go, oh, aha moment. Oh, that's right. I knew about that. It may be, you just never know how it's going to come. But I want to encourage you to be very specific. And then when you're very specific, don't try to word your question so that you get the answer you want. Open, put it out there, and then open. We covered that on Thursday night about taking a spiritual approach to asking the universe questions. The universe gets the universe or God or Allah, however you use, whatever language you use, it gets very interactive with you when you put questions out there and then you open yourself up for the answer. That's why I encourage a lot of you to spend more time in meditation. So what I do is I'll pray, and then I go from my prayers, which is usually the prescribed prayers, and then some gratitude conversations that I have, and then I move right into meditation. So I use the prayer and the gratitude conversations to create the right electromagnetic waves, and then I go open in silence so that I can then receive. And sometimes I don't get anything. Sometimes it's just monkey brains. Just got to do this, need to go here, and I just let that pass. I just let it go, and I just let it pass. Because sometimes that silence was producing certain electromagnetic waves, and then certain things come to me later. Some things take a long time to come. And then sometimes I have to go back and say, okay, is there anything that I'm doing? Is there anything that I should be doing? Is there any place I should go? Who do you want me to see? I'm very, very specific. What should I wear so that when I go to this particular place, I line up with who you want to see me, or how you want me to present. Who should I talk to? Make it clear, make it plain to me who I speak to. I know, and then sometimes I'll admit I say, I am a little nervous. I am a little afraid. And I realize that in my fear and in my nervousness, I may be pinching myself off from you a little bit. Help me to open up. I know I don't need a big opening. I just need a little bit. Thoughts travel so fast, you can get pretty far in a second with your thoughts. So just give me the seconds, the time that I need, the little opening, the crack in the foundation that I need in order to be able to peek through and see. Sometimes I'll say, God, I need to see you because I don't know what's going on. I'm really nervous. I'll say that. But you got to be very, very open, and then you got to be ready. We talked on Thursday, you got to be ready. You got to be in that divine feminine, meaning that when you're in the divine feminine, you put the question out there, you put the data out there, and then you're open and you're ready for the answer. That's true even if you're asking somebody for something. When I mentioned to you that sister went and said, hey, are y'all open? She didn't say, hey, are y'all open? No, y'all ain't open. She said, hey, are y'all open? And she had the pregnant silence because she's waiting on the answer. I hope y'all get that. Any other questions before we get up out of here today? Hope y'all getting ready for spring, summer. I'm excited about the summer. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so Monday, 6 a.m., Sajdah Monday morning motivation. Just give y'all a little motivation. I might do a little bit of teaching because I want to tell y'all about how the work week came about. So we may talk about that, but really to give us some motivation, because I want us to be more productive when we're going to work in the morning. I want us to be more productive when we're going into our businesses in the morning. A lot of us are going to work and we're sad, we're depressed, we're sick of going, we don't feel like going, we don't feel like getting on the train, we don't feel like getting on the bus, we don't feel like driving, we don't want to talk to nobody. Okay, mom says, you're looking like your grandmother. She wore a red tan with a multicolored top and her hair exactly like yours. I must be channeling her, Mom. She must be coming through over here. Come on through, Mom. We go to work and we just don't want to go. We don't like going. We don't like the people there. So let's talk about how to make the most out of those relationships. How do we steal away? How do we tweak our mindset so that we can stop being stuck in that job? See, part of the reason why we're stuck in that job is because we're stuck in the mindset. Every time we get up, we say, man, I can't stand these people over here. I hate that supervisor. I can't stand this person, blah, 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 blah. Let's break out of that. Let's break out of, I'm all about breaking out of certain thinking and thought patterns, but then also breaking out of this time frame of thinking. This 6,000-year history, and those of you who know your supreme wisdom, you know what I'm talking about. This 6,000-year history has a mind. It has a way of thinking and a way of being. And y'all hear me all the time say, I have seen and felt myself in a time space beyond this 6,000-year vacuum that we're living in. I've seen myself in a time space a couple 100,000 years ago. I felt myself. I've done things like posed a question out there about climate change. And I've had God share with me climate stuff. This is real talk. I'm telling you all, use this. This works. I told you all Thursday that I'm going to give you something over the course of the next 3 days that if you utilize it, if you employ it, it will change your life. We're really talking about the power of asking. We're really talking about being more intimate with the universe. Get up out of the dogma. Get up out of memorizing everything. You got to come up out of the Bible a little bit. Even come up out of your Quran a little bit. Nurse your Quran instead of being dogmatic about it. It's a technique that I use. I actually learned it from Mother Tynetta. You pose a question and then you go to the Quran and see what it gives you. And then you meditate on it and then see how the thought grows from there and from there, from there. And I'll memorize the verse that that I turn to when I'm nursing it. And then that's in my head all day long. And so that gives me an excuse to go back to another vibration. So throughout my day, I'm always monitoring the electromagnetic waves that I'm sending out. So you may go somewhere and you walk into a coffee shop and somebody don't open the door for you, or somebody act a little racist or do something. I don't stay there. 9 times out of 10, I got a verse in my head that I got in the morning from nursing my Quran. I'm pointing to my Holy Quran that's over here. I'm nursing that. So I got a verse in my head. Or I have an experience that I had overnight from something that I asked and I just put out there into the universe before I went to bed. And then the answer came and a plan started unfolding. Usually I'll get it around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And so I got that in my head. And so I'll make myself go back to that. I'm not going to be tied up into your vibration. If you racist, if you ignorant, if you ugly, if you a predator, if you mad, if you a hater, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm not going there with you. I'm over here trying to be an orchestrator of the universe. I want to be like, look, this is what we need. All right, I'm being silly. Okay, family, we'll see you all Monday. Okay, if you can jump on, if you don't have time Monday and you're getting dressed and you're like, I don't feel like listening to no Sajdah Monday motivation, then listen to it later. But go back and listen to the past episodes. This is the 3rd one of the power of asking. I promise you something here will change your life. So go back Thursday night, 7 p.m. Then yesterday and today, 6 a.m. Central Time. All right. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give a love offering. Support the network. Y'all see we trying to expand. If you're interested in sponsorships, you want us to play your commercial, send me a note and I'll talk to you about what our rates are and what we're going to do. We have to, approve it and make sure. So don't send us nothing crazy. Okay. So if y'all don't got no more other questions, I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. And I'll be looking for your subscriptions, your super chats, and your love offerings. And I'm open to ideas on what you want to talk. But right now, we got Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, we're going to work with that. Let's build that up. Go back and share. Just take one of the links, go back to the page, take one of the links and send it to a friend and say, hey, I follow this sister. I like this sister. I want to like and subscribe. I want you to like and subscribe. Okay, let's see. Somebody says something in the chat before we get out of here. Sister Betty says, see you on Monday. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, family. Peace and blessings.